Hi, in today's video I'm going to be talking about how we can schedule commands to be executed at a later time using the at command. So this command will basically allow us to schedule commands to be executed later on, either interactively using the at command's sort of shell or from a text file. What I'm going to do is come across and show you how this works. So first of all, what we need to do obviously is install the at command, and we do that with sudo apt install at. Quick side note, I use nixpkg as well, but I found the at command in that is broken, doesn't come with systemd, or is just difficult to set up. So we're going to be using apt to install the at command. So just run sudo apt install at, and after that what we need to do is actually enable the at daemon. So the at command has a daemon that runs in the background, and we can start that with systemd. So we'd run sudo systemctl enable atd, and there's the at command, and then there's the at daemon, which is called atd, and that's the command we need to enable with systemctl and not at. So you'd enable it, and that's going to set it up so it always runs at boot. And you can also run sudo systemctl start atd, and that's going to start the atd daemon. And what we can now do is run the at command. So first of all, what you want to do is run man at, and that's going to give you the man page for the at command. So you can see all the commands and the time syntax, so you want to read through this. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview of this, and also how you can run graphical applications as well. And the trick is you need to export your display, so I'm going to show you that as well. So read the man at page, and also the man page for the atd daemon as well, so that will explain some of the options for that as well. So what I'm going to do is run at now plus 1 minute, 1 minute, and press return, and that's going to put me into the at prompt, and it's giving me a warning here saying commands will be executed using bin sh. So with the at prompt, you don't get any auto completion for the command. So if I start typing the touch command and press tab, it's actually just going to tab, not going to auto complete the command. So that's the first thing. You actually have to manually type out the commands, and you can't, as far as I know, use auto completion. So what I'm going to do is just use the touch command to create a file on the desktop. So desktop touch, and now I'm going to press return, and you see it gives me another line here, and what you need to do is press Control D, and that's going to return you to your regular prompt. So if I press Control D, that's basically saying I've finished writing the command I want, and I want to return to the regular prompt. And what you'll see here is it gives me a time when this is going to be executed, and if I run atq, actually you already created it, so let me just try this again, or maybe I had one already set up. Let me just try that again. So touch desktop touch, press Control D. The file hasn't been created yet. If I run atq, it should list the jobs. So in a second, what that will do is it will create, well, in a minute, it's going to create a file called touch on the desktop. And this is just basically to show you a simple example of how it works. So this still hasn't kicked in yet. So what I'm going to do is show you how you can actually download a file as well. So still not there. So what I'm going to do is grab this link for this GIF here from Big Butt Bunny, and come back to the terminal, And yeah, there we go. It's now created that touch file after a minute. So what I'm going to do is run a command to download that GIF. So at now plus 1 minutes, press return, curl the name of the file in single quotes, -o for the out file, so desktop. And again, you've got no auto completion here, so you can't type desktop and press tab. bbb.gif, press return, and now press Control D. You can see there's just the input file there, but in a minute it's going to download that GIF file. So what I'm going to do next is show you how you can open a graphical application. So what we've got here is a shell script with 2 lines, and the first line is export display 1. So if I just switch back to the terminal, you can see now the GIF has been downloaded. Let's see, file size 155K, and we can open that with SKIV and the -A option, which is used to play GIFs. And you can see GIF's been downloaded. So back to the script. So first of all, what we need to do is actually check our display variable. So if we run echo double quotes $ display, you can see here the display is listed as :1. So what we need to do in this script, first of all, we need to run export display equals :1, which is our display. Now on the next line, what I'm doing here is I'm running MPV with the -- screen equals 1 option, which is going to open the video on this display, and then a link to a YouTube video, which in this case is Big Buck Bunny. So what I'm going to do now is run the @ command, and instead of using the sort of @ command shell, I'm going to tell it to read the command I want to execute from a file. So at now plus 1 minutes -f, and then the path to the file. So that's input, and basically it just says command will be executed using bin.sh. And what's going to happen is you can see if I run ATQ, it's got a job listed. What's going to happen is it's going to execute MPV and open that video after 1 minute. So this is how we can get it to execute graphical applications. So this is useful, for example, if you want to watch something on YouTube, a live stream or something, you can actually use the @ command to open your browser to that particular page, so it's ready for you to start watching. So this should kick in and start the video. There we go, right on time. So as you can see, after 1 minute, it executed MPV and opened it on this display. And the trick is you have to set your display correctly, otherwise it's not going to work. So the other thing I want to cover is this was an actual shell script here. You can see it's got a shebang up here, and it's been set to be executable. So we can actually just run this script, you know, as you would normally. But the thing is, you don't actually need to create an executable script for this to work. So if I copy this text and create a new file, so new file, and just paste this in and switch back here, we just remove the GIF. So what we got is the input, which is the shell script I just showed you, which is got a shebang and is executable, as you can see by this X here. And we've got another file here called new file, which isn't executable and doesn't have a shebang, but will also work. And the reason for that is any text file you give it's going to execute using bin.sh. So the file doesn't actually have to be a shell script, it just can be a text file with the command you want to execute in it. The other thing that I found is that if I remove that new file that we just run, you can see there that the video is still opened, even though the file containing the command was no longer on the desktop. So what it seems to do is it takes the command from the file and sort of stores it in memory. So even if you delete the file containing the command, it will still work. So basically what that means is you don't have to have loads of text files littering your desktop waiting to be run. You can just basically pipe that command in from the text file into instead of running the command on the command line. So it's basically you're sort of piping the text from the command into at the time you execute it, and the file doesn't actually need to be on your desktop at the time is run. That's what it looks like anyway. So that's how you can open a graphical application using the command. What you need to do, either in a shell script or just a simple text file, is first of all you need to export your display, and again you find that by running echo $display in caps, and that's going to say like :1 or :0. You stick that in the script, and then the command that the graphical application you want to open. So that's the other thing, you don't need to specify the full path to the command. So you don't have to specify user bin MPV. You can just put MPV in the script and it will still work. So that's the steps you need to do, is basically first of all install the command sudo apt install or whatever, if you're using Pacman or whatever other package manager on your distro. Then you want to start the daemon using systemd, so systemctl enable atd, and remember it's atd and not so the name of the daemon is atd and the command is so we enable the daemon, and then we can also make sure it's started. And after you've done that, you can basically run the command, like this, now 1 minutes or hours, press return, and it puts you at the prompt. Now if you come across to Google and you just run something like Linux command, there's a couple of good links here. I'll just come back to this. So this is Linux size, so got everything here, how you enable the atd daemon, some of the syntax, also how you can actually pipe in commands to the command, so you can either use it interactively with the shell from a text file, or also pipe in commands sort of using this sort of syntax here. There's also another article here on Computer Hope, which has got some notes about the time syntax. So you've got stuff like noon, midnight, tea time, tomorrow, next week. So this is a good example of some of the syntax you can use with the at command to schedule things to be run in the future. Let me just get some more tea. That's another good one here, and there's another one here on opensource.com, which has also got some other sort of information, you know, how you schedule a job interactively. So this explains how you use the at prompt and how you have to sort of, you know, control D to exit, and some other stuff, you know, how you can schedule it, and some of the expressions here for the time and the syntax. And this command's quite useful, for example, to download a file or start recording a video or audio stream in the middle of the night. So if you've got like a radio broadcast or something that, you know, is live at 2 in the morning, and you want to record it for the morning, you can use something, you can use your own custom scripts and schedule them to be executed, you know, at 2, 3 in the morning when you're asleep. So again, this was the at man page. You can basically just run man at, and this is going to give you all the options. So we've got the at command, we've got the at queue, so this shows the queue. We also have something called at trim, which basically lets you remove jobs identified by their job number. You can also sort of batch execute stuff, so you can actually run commands one after another. And it's got a lot of information here. We'll go through in some of the options and some of the sort of flags you can set. You can also set it to send a mail when the job's being complete. And it's got some of the and it lists sort of the files that are sort of used down here. I think basically what it does is, I'm not sure if it sort of interacts with cron or something, but there are also other pages you can read here which are like at allow and at deny. And these files allow you to specify particular users that should be allowed or not allowed to use the at command. And then we've got the man page for the ATD daemon. So man ATD, and that's basically going to give you all the information you need to look up on that command. But generally, once you've started the at daemon with systemd, you can just run the at prompt interactively, you know, and use the sort of time syntax. And if I just press return now, it's going to put me into the at prompt. Or again, if you use the -f flag, you can then specify a file to read the command from. So basically, as I said, this means that the command in the file is just piped into at. As I said, it's not going to use the file at the time it's executed. So you can basically delete the file, as I said. So I can specify it like that, and that's going to set the video to be opened in 1 minute. Or if you just press return at this point, it'll put you to the at prompt. And again, when you're using it, you've got no auto completion. So touch. Right, there we go. There's the video after a minute. So I can't auto complete any of this here. Touch, new, press Control D, and then you can see here that's job 34 and the time it's going to be executed. So that's a strange thing, is that sometimes what I found is that the file actually, maybe it's just a touch command or something. In this example, it sort of gets created, you know, straight away. So let's try that again. So you can see we just got the one file there. So I have noticed some, there we go, straight away. So maybe, I don't know if it's coming up in another terminal. Let me just check. Yeah, so maybe that's just something particular to the at command, the touch command. Because if I so if I use curl to download this page, switch back to the terminal, remove that test file. At now plus 1 minute curl Okay, so you can see file hasn't been created straight away with the sort of curl command. Now it's created. Let me just see. Yep, it's actually got that. I don't think that was a minute. So on some of the timings may just be in this video things being sort of created straight away. But you know you can experiment with it and do a dry run before you sort of try this out. But the easiest way to sort of do this is probably using a text file, because you've got no auto completion with the at prompt, and it could be, and it's a bit messy, sort of trying to echo multiple lines into at. So using just a text file with the commands you want to run is probably the easiest way to do this. And again, just set your display variable if you're going to open a graphical application, otherwise it's not going to work. And the command you want to execute. I think you probably want to use multiple you probably don't want to sort of put multiple things to be executed. I'm not sure, I haven't sort of played around with it, whether it's better to do each one individually. Also, you can use the batch command to sort of schedule things to be run. But those are just the couple of things I wanted to cover, was opening graphical applications by using the display, and also how you can basically run a command and don't have to specify the full path. So what I mean by that is you don't have to put in user bin npv, for example. You can actually just put in npv, or whether it's, you know, curl, you know, I don't want to download that. I want to download user bin. Let me just put this in here. Out file.html. So this will also work. Actually, what I'll do is I'll just comment that out. And see, I'm getting, it gives you auto completion sort of at now, and it's telling you, you know, put in the time here. So at now plus 1 minute file input. So it's just easier doing it from a file rather than sort of typing out in the at command, because it's just sort of, you don't get the auto completion, so it's a bit of a pain. But you can see here it's actually done the new file straight away. Maybe 1 minute's just not long enough a test. See, that's this page up here. So that's the at command, how you can use it to schedule commands to be executed in the future. You just need to run sudo apt install to install it, then enable the systemctl daemon, and that will basically set it to run every time you boot up. So it's also a lot easier than using cron. You set up cron to execute commands, but that's mainly for commands that are going to be the same and you just want to execute, say, every week or every day. Where this is more for one-off things, for example, to download a file, schedule a recording, do a backup, that sort of thing. So it's much easier to use than cron. I covered this a couple of years ago on how you can actually set this up on the Mac as well, but it's a lot more complicated. You have to sort of edit plist files and all that kind of stuff. So very easy to use on Linux. It's really useful to schedule recordings, sort of download videos, record a live stream, or a radio program, that sort of thing. So have a look at that. And again, the only thing you need to do for graphical applications, again, for the last time, is set your display, export display equals colon, and the number of your display. And that will give you your display number. And that's needed if you want to open a video with something like MPV, or open a graphical application like Firefox or Chromium. But it's useful because you can set it so that it would, for example, open your browser, when you want to watch a particular TV program, so it will open your browser up with that particular URL. So it could be useful for that sort of thing. So have a look and see if that's any use. And it's quite easy to use, but some of the time syntax might be a bit sort of confusing to get your head around. So have a read of the man page, and also just have a quick Google for Linux @command, and again Linux size, computer hope, and opensource.com. And I'll put a couple of links under the video so you can have a read of this and the syntax that you need to use, and the different options like viewing the queue and removing particular jobs using the job number. So that's all for now. Have a look, see if that's any use for you. And as I said, it might be useful for things like backups, setting things to execute while you're asleep or at work. So it's a lot easier than cron, and give it a look, see if it's any use.